All right, guys. Unfortunately, this is what we have. Instead of actually on the website, we're going to be explaining everything and breaking down the whole patch, as it is one of the biggest patches of Season 10, if not the biggest, upon release. So we got a bunch of skins that we can't see, unfortunately, because we don't have the website for now. I'm sure when they update it, you'll be able to see all the skins. Battle Pass, a bunch of skins. If you guys are going to buy gems, make sure to use my Nexus link. It directly supports me, chat. And it's the same offers and same everything. It's just free support for the boy. Celebration event, celebration, okay. A skin, Odyssey, Odyssey. The Medusa skin. So there's a couple of the tier 5 skins coming back that you can roll for. Bug fixes. Yeah, I know a couple of these. The set ones. The Charon. Thor, I don't even know about this. Oh yeah, this is like Final K did it and it's hilarious. Boom boom. Yeah, okay. Game modes. So they're explaining the reset. So people at Cap MMR will go to 3K, so you'll only need to play 1 week to get back to Cap Omega Low. Yeah, and then it'll scale down, and then people that are close to 1500 will kind of have the same MMR. They also had additional time for game start. I have no clue why they did this. It's not like any of us want more time to start the game. I find that really useless in my opinion, especially since there's nothing to do in this time because of Invader's Curse. It really makes no sense to me, but whatever. 15 seconds, who cares? The new items, maybe? Is it for the new items? I don't know. Okay, so Conquest, here we go. I'm sure you guys have seen the art update. It's like daytime. It seems like kind of like island vibes. Fire Giant Pit has been changed completely. It has like a bunch of open areas. I really like it. The geometry changes. That's what we were talking about earlier. So yeah, the Fire Giant wall is different. Can you find me a link of the Fire Giant so we can show it? The Fire Giant, the new Fire Giant part map. So this is the new Fire Giant pit. Return. No, this is skins. You can. So this is the new Fire Giant pit. Really open. I like it. I thought the other Fire Giant pit was very closed off. Didn't really enjoy that. I like this a bit better. So let's talk about the new jungle feature, Shaman Camp and Spirit Totems. I already read through this, but I'm obviously gonna go over it with you guys. I think it's interesting. I think it could be fine tuned. I just hope it's not the ghosting, right? They drop a mechanic in the game. People say they don't like it. They don't even touch it. They don't do anything about it and then just remove it. I thought that was really poor way to go about it. Sometimes you have ideas. They can be good ideas, maybe not executed perfectly, but it's okay to revamp them and change them. So I hope this is not one of those. So this unique jungle camp replaces the back harbor between red and blue, so right side of the map. If you're, it's just Fire Giant side pretty much, depending on which side you spawn. After an initial Harpy camp spawn, the next 5 respawns to this location are Shaman camps. So this is really important because you're going to have to keep track of this as a jungler or mid, I'd assume. After all 5 have been cleared, the rotation returns back to Harpies only. Camp respawn timer remains at 120 seconds, so 2 minutes. Each Shaman camp contains a Shaman leader and 2 Shaman guards. The Shaman leader is imbued with a spirit power, and when defeated, creates a spirit totem infused with power of the leader defeated. No, I feel like this should have been a neutral thing. It would make more sense to me to be a neutral thing, so it's contested instead of having it on your own side. But it's not, so whatever makes. Shaman leader rotations are random each game, however, will always be the same rotation for both sides of the map. So it's random, but still the same on both sides of the map. Invading and killing a Shaman leader will provide us enemy team with corresponding team spirit as usual. Shaman leader, 600 health, 12 prods, 5 magic, 28 power, 40 XP, 24 gold. The scaling is this is what I would worry about. I don't care about this. The scaling on the XP and the gold is okay. After defeating the shaman leader, spirit totems are created in each jungle buff camp location that can be interacted with a basic attack, empowering one buff at a time. Spirit totems are augments to the actual buff holder drops and can be changed at any time by empowering a new spirit totem for the buff itself. So the spirit totem, we're going to show you what it looks like. These are the 4. Azure Spirit Totem, CDR, 5% pen, 10% attack speed, 7% physical and magical life steal, 10% health mana. I think this one is the most interesting one, and maybe this one. These two are okay. I like how it's pretty spread out, though, so you can kind of pick the stat you want to outplay your opponent. The duration of the buff is 120 seconds. The Stygian Beacon and Unleashed Titans. This is one of the biggest changes. I tweeted about this. I said this was very, very, very important, and I also recommended it in every video I've ever made. After the Unleashed Titans both die, the Stygian Beacon will reignite after 5 minutes. Change the Stygian Beacon buff reward. Increase max stacks from 3 to 6. So the biggest thing is the Titan respawns again, helping end games that go 40, 50 minutes that have no reason to be that long of a game. So this is really important for the game. I'm really happy about this. They also changed the buff, the beacon buff reward, so increased max stats from 3 to 6. So there's 6 beacons to fight for, which is really good for lower level games and mid-level games to contest and fight and group team fight and skirmish. Very important. Removed movement speed buff, so it no longer gives speed, movement speed. Added a new buff, so it's 1% physical and magical power per stack instead of 1% movement speed. Decreased damage to structures / lane pushers per stack from 5 to 4%. So makes sense that it's 4%. They dropped it because there's more beacons, so makes sense to drop this, and they changed this, so you can get 6% physical and magical power, and you can get 24% increased damage to structures. So Unleashed Titan base reward, they increased it by a ton. It's 80 more gold. You have to be around it to get it. If you're on the other side of the map, you will not get the extra gold for killing the Titan. So it makes you want to come to the Titan more and group on the Titan. Conquest balance. So Cyclops chest. So this is something that I spoke about loudly. I said this is not good for the game. So they lowered it. Is happy with this change. I think it could have been. I think they could have messed with the. I think this is a fine change. I also think they should have hit. When you on the kill streak gold, I think it's too high. I think the multiplier is too high. I think if you're 7-0 and you die once, you lose your 7 kills. I don't think 7 kills. I think someone should be rewarded, but not to the fact where they're even with a guy that's 7-0, right? That means he makes 7 right plays and makes 1 mistake, and he's even with the guy that made 7 wrong plays. Makes no sense to me. I also think they should hit that. They hopefully do in the near future. Fire Giant, increase scaling XP gold reward from 5 to 8. So they're increasing XP and gold on all neutral, objectives on the map. So this is really good for many reasons. Means you cannot sit on your back camps and be the same level as the guy that's getting all the mid camps. Very good for the game. Very positive change. Means the aggressor gets rewarded, which is the way it should always be. Reduce Oracle Vision from 1.5 to 1 minute because they reduced the spawn time, they adjusted the time for that. So Pyromancer increased gold, increased XP on the scaling. Shield buff increased from the gold reward from 2 to 4. As well as the cooldown buff Scorpion increased from 2 to 4. So remember in all my coaching videos where I said, guys, you need to make sure to get these buffs and make sure to be on time and make sure to contest them. Now it's even more important to be on time for those and contesting those at all times. Red buff holder decrease. So you're going to see a decrease on all camps. 136 to 130 base XP, base gold. So it's all base and not scaling. So very interesting. This is a new part of the new items and new recipes. This is I thought this was an interesting approach to the game. I've always said talent tree is a really good way, but they've always said that they had a problem with coding for that. So they added their own version of this little interesting recipe. So these are recipes from the store. These are purchased as items. They cost 0 gold. Duration is permanent until sold/replaced. Each recipe is a mini quest of 2 steps to complete the award that awards a final dish item. Awards 50 gold on step 1 completion, 75 gold on step 2 completion. The recipe auto-evolve when the step is completed. Recipes and dish items do not provide any stats. Golden gooseberries. So step 1, kill 30 minions, deal 750 god damage with basic attacks. Obviously, they made each one for each character, 1,000 mana, 2,000 god damage with abilities. Obviously, this is for mage, this is for support, this is for hunter, but you can kind of shuffle them around depending on your character if you want to be creative, which is always a good thing for a MOBA. Allowing different playstyles, more creativity, more options is always a good thing for MOBAs. So this, I'm happy about this. So we'll break this down. So the passive on this final dish for the auto attack ones is all basic attacks will also hit enemies within a 10 unit radius of the target for 30% of the damage to gods and 50% of the damage to minion and jungle camp. So interesting cleave on basic attacks, which is going to be interesting with how that works with range, as I'd like to see it. I'm assuming they use a cannoneer type of vibe to it, but we'll see, as we're going to make some videos and play PTS after this. Sturdy Stew, step 1, obtain 40 minion assists. Obviously support, crowd control, enemy gods 10 times. You may not gain more than 1 stack per 1 second, so internal cooldown. Final dish is the sorry about that. Final dish passive, being hit by a crowd hard CC creates a pulse that provides 5+1 per level protections to yourself and allies within 55 units for 5 seconds. This effect can only occur once every 10 seconds. Pretty strong, I'd say. Bountiful Bow, spend 1,000 mana. I think this is pretty dumb. This step is pretty dumb. It's like, play the game. I think there should be thinking behind it, correct? Like, I think there should be, you're trying to do something. Like, you spend 1,000 mana. I mean, like, everyone's going to do that. I think it's a little weird. But, hopefully they get more creative as it goes. Step 2, deal 2,000 god damage with abilities. That's interesting. Final dish passive, when you use a non-ultimate ability, its cooldown is reduced by 1.5 seconds. This effect may only occur every 8 seconds. You use a non-ultimate ability, its cooldown is reduced by 1.5. Yeah, this is absolutely bro. I think this will be one of the best ones, if not the best one. I mean, reset on CDs is absolutely broken, infinitely stronger than this one's okay for supports, obviously for supports. This one is I don't know. I wouldn't even use this one over this. I'd still use this on a hunter. Obviously, if it's ability based, even more value. But Party Punch, step 1, kill or assist 30 jungle minions. Traverse 1,500 units. Obviously, for the jungler, final dish passive, every 100 units traveled, you gain a buff that deals 20 plus 15% of your power. So it scales. So that's really important, right? Because that might do crazy things late. Physical damage to the enemy hit with your next basic attack or ability. Something like a Willix passive or Merc passive in a way. Durable Drumstick, very creative with the names. Step 1, deal or take 1,500 god damage. Very similar to this, but it's deal or take. So interesting. Step 2, successfully damage an enemy god 20 times with basic attacks or abilities. The effect may occur once every 2 seconds. Final dish passive. Pretty much what I understand from this is that they saw how much people like tablet and prophetic, and they said, let's do more of that. And that makes sense. Mini games with it. In my honest opinion, I think a MOBA should have a lot of macro, and you should be trying to focus on not like playing like in a mini game with your items to keep you entertained, but the macro on the map should keep you entertained. But they obviously saw that people were very entertained by stacking and getting stacks, so they added more of that. I don't mind it. It's okay. I just think they shouldn't just completely focus on this, but completely focus on the macro of the game, so that there isn't, we don't have to rely on prophetic to have fun as a support, right? So there should be more things. Final dish passive, being out of combat for 5 seconds grants you a buff that reduces the damage of the next basic attack or ability god by 20%. 20% is very, very, very high. Very interesting. Additional notes, you can only have 1 recipe at a time. Obvious, you can only ever purchase 1 recipe at a time. Okay, just like starters, the items can slide them out. Okay, 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 okay. Nice. Could be interesting, Grim. Starter item, Mannequin Scepter, decreased cost from 750 to 650, still a trash item. They buffed Mannequin Mace, increased health from 75 to 100, and gave it 15% attack speed. Might be interesting item, we'll see. This stat might carry it, we'll see. I'm not sure. I have to play with Mannequin again. Vamp Shroud, increased lifesteal from 4% to 6%, and increased mana restore from 6 to 8. I think Vamp might be competing with Conduit now. We'll see. Blood Soak Shroud, increased magical power from 80 to 85. Good buff. Increased lifesteal from 10 to 12%. Good buff. Like I said, this might be one of the best starters now. Vamp is on the lookout for me. General Absolution, increased CC immunity from 1 second to 1.5. Obviously they saw that this item was kind of hard to execute, so they increased the window that you could execute to help execution. Makes sense to me. Smart change. Excuse me. Aussie, decreased cost from 2450 to 2400. I think that's smart. Smart change. Decrease in gold. Increased physical power from 40 to 45. Increased passive health threshold from 50 to 60%. I think gloves are still better, but I think making Aussie a little bit better to be an option is nice. Divine Ruin, decreased cost from 2. I don't think this needed to happen, but I mean mages are definitely happy about this. 100. Reduce gold on Divine Ruin. You're happy. Erosion. This needed to be buffed on the radius, which was good. Decrease the cost on it too because it's a pretty niche item. So I agree with these changes. Smart change. They buffed Aussie, so they buffed Vigor. I like it. I don't mind the threshold. I don't think it's the biggest buff, but it helps. Mail or Renewal. Decrease max stacks from 5 to 4. This item might be on the lookout. Internal CD dropped by 15 seconds. That's really big. This item was dead because of this. So they switched this. It makes sense. And increase the protection room stack to 4 to 5. Good buff. Max stacks from 5 to 4. So you get the stacks faster. You get more from the stacks. And the internal CD is shorter. So be on the lookout for this item. Oni Hunter's Garb. Increased mitigation per stack 3 to 4%. Small change. Tablet of Destinies dropped by 100 gold. Yeah, I thought it was too expensive. I agree with this. Toxic Blade, increased pen. I mean, this item needs a glyph or needs buffs. Like, they keep small buffing it. I guess they're doing it little by little to see when this item's going to be good. But it'll never be good because the stats are garbage. So they increase the stats a little bit. 5 extra pen. Still bad item in my opinion. Warlock Staff. Increase health from 100 to 150. Interesting change. Evolve Warlocks, another 50 change. Interesting. I don't think it's that great, but quality of life on the item helps a bit. Apollo buff is absolutely insane. So we'll go over it. Audacity. While this effect is active, Apollo gains 20% increased basic attack projectile speed. Wow. Insane. So beautiful. Increased projectile speed from 110 to 150. Wow. Increases scaling by 5%. Small, but still something. Serenade. But this was what's going to break Apollo. This was not necessary. In my opinion. This is probably going to get reverted or toned down, I'd assume. But yeah, I mean, a free 30 magical prots from Mez is absolutely crazy. But, I guess Apollo's broken now. Across the Sky, decreased landing time from 0.8 to 0.6. Really big change, honestly. Big buff. Decreased tick time from 0.2 to 0.15. It's whatever. Decreased mana cost, big buff. 40 to 80 to 35 to 55, big buff. Chernobog, I mean, you guys already saw my short from yesterday. Chernobog is as good as the player is, so if they're going to buff him, I mean, we love it. Increased projectile speed from 105 to 125. I think this is good quality of life for his one. Decreased the minimum air time from 0.2 to 0.1. Another buff. Increase the collision radius from 20-25. Big buff. This ability now slows by 25% for 2 seconds on initial hit. Absolutely crazy buff. But they took the slow from the dash and put it on the 1, which is obviously a huge buff because you'd prefer not to dash. Increased vicious barrage. Shifted duration from 3 to 5 to 4 at all ranks, but decreased the cooldown by 5 seconds. Wow. Decreased mana cost from 50 to 70 to 30 to 50. Low mana cost. Into the Darkness. Decrease the total dash time from 0.65 to 0.55. Small quality of life buff. Increased damage from 60 to 120 to 75 to 135. Small buff. to the damage on the dash. Remove slow. Small nerf, but it was added to the 1, so it's okay. Arachne, the worst character in the game. Cocoon. They just need to rekit this character, man. It's honestly like pathetic. Like this character is outdated so hard. You keep buffing dead abilities. Like the ability is dead. Like even if this the only way you make this character good is to bloat its kit. If you bloat the kit that's already brain dead, you make a brain dead character amazing. That is the only way to make the character valuable. So there's a problem. What's the variable? What's the problem? It's the kit. The design of the kit is very weak, one-dimensional, low IQ, bad. What other? I don't care what other adjective you want me to give it. So let's see what they buffed. Decrease amount of hits to stun from 3 to 2. Yeah, that's a big buff. Decrease the duration of the buff from 6 to 4. The reason they decrease the duration of the cocoon is because before, when you eventually cocoon them, then your increased attack speed would be gone, which was bad mechanics. So they changed that. But to change that and keep it balanced, they reduced it from 6 to 4 seconds. So 4 seconds you get increased attack stim. So before, like I said, when you would stun them, the stim would go away. It no longer does that. This means that Arachne, yeah. The web increases the number of broodlings from 2 to, so you get 3 broodlings on the max rank. Not that matters. Nightcrawler increased leap range from 40 to 50, something small. Pele, Pyro class, Pele got a really big buff in my opinion. Pyro class's ability now provides 5 to 6 9 fuel on successful hit on an enemy. So when you left click someone, you get fuel. Really good. Volcanic lightning, increase the number of hits from 3 to 4. Decrease basic attack damage reduction from 50 to 40%. I mean 3 to 4, like these are huge buffs right here. These buffs right here are really big for Pele. So I really like this buff because it has outplay potential. It has a lot of brain usage. You know, you're thinking a lot more, right? Where Pele had very little thinking. So adding thinking to a character that with low thinking is good. You know, you're thinking about more variables, more options, more opportunity. Raijin's buffs are absolutely insane and very smart. I think this is the best buff out of all the patch notes. It has thought, it has a lot of brain behind it. Charge tempo, every basic attack on enemies reduce Raijin's non-ultimate cooldown by 0.2. So in between, autos in between is very interesting. Not only that, Raiju added 40 to 60 plus 15% of your magical power initial hit damage on landing Raiju. So when you land it, it already does damage, so it's very good. Thunder Crash, reduce pre-fire and setup times from 0.2 to 0.1. Huge quality of life fix right here. Taiko Drums, Raijin now gains 5 to 25% attack speed per rank of this ability. So as a passive, you get increased attack speed on Raijin, which now helps his charge tempo add-on. So very clever way to buff Raijin. Really happy about this change. I thought this was the smartest change of the whole patch. Thoth. Dead Reckoning. Thoth now gains an additional 1% magic. Before it was flat pen. Now they're giving him some percent pen. I already thought he was very strong, but now, I mean, obviously he's just going to be even stronger. Now deals 25% more damage to jungle minions, so his jungle clears better. Glyph of Pain increased the basic attack damage by attacking through the glyph. Helps on objectives, helps on structures. 20 to 40 to 30 to 50. Pretty big if you ask me. Final Judgment, increased damage from 400 to 640 base plus 115% of your scaling to 420 to 660. So increased base and increased scaling. Absolutely crazy. I mean, Thoth is going to be a top tier mid now. No doubt, if he was not already. King Arthur, Steadfast, decreased duration from 15 seconds to 10 seconds. Decreased max saps from 4 to 3. Increased mitigation from 1% to 2.5%. Now gains 5 HP 5%. This is a giant buff on KA here. A lot of buffs in just one swing. Battle Stomp, Uppercut, increased slow debuff from 20 to 40 to 30 to 40. So the early levels is getting more value. Twin Cleave Blade Storm fixed an issue where the first hit was only debuffing 7% of protection instead of 10. So just a bug fix. Now it's doing its 10%. Bladestorm Twin Cleave, increased base damage per swing from 10 to 90 to 15 to 95, so small 5 add-on. And increase the final damage from 30 to 230 to 35 to 255. Big add-ons on the last 3 levels. Osiris, pretty big buffs. Fragmented, increased magical damage mitigation from 1% per fragment to 2%. Pretty big if you ask me. Now increases your attack speed by 20% while all stacks are active, so your passive is getting pretty big buffs. Sickle Strike is no longer stops on first minion. It goes through. And it does 50% of the total damage when it goes through. So interesting, helps us clear a lot. He probably insta-clears now. He 1-2s cleave insta-clear, I'm pretty sure. So pretty big buffs if you ask me. Judgment Tether now decreases the tethered enemy's attack speed by 20%. I mean, really big change. Osiris might be back. Guardians Athena. Athena buffs were absolutely insane. Preemptive Strike, remove the slow debuff effect from this ability. Confounds, while enemies are taunted, their attack speed is decreased by 30%. This was a really smart change because when you taunted Baka, any left clicker, it felt bad. So now this helps. I thought they could have done something like this. I thought they could have, when she taunts, she gets increased physical protections. I thought that would make a lot of sense. But, you know, reducing their attack speed makes sense to me. Shield Wall added a 20% slow, so she has a slow on her 3 instead of her dash, so that's pretty good. And it slows on both for 2 seconds, so it could be a 4-second slow if you keep them in there. Defender of Olympus now gives 20% movement speed. Athena is mega buffed. Ares General, increased base damage from 38 to 40. I don't know why. I don't even know what that means. I don't think it matters at all, but whatever. Shackles, decrease God damage per tick from 25 to 105 to 20 to 100. They lower the base damage on Shackles because Shackles is up more often. Makes sense. Blessed Presence, Ares gains bonus attack damage per level. Okay. Old 1.5, new 4. Okay. Attack speed Ares, question mark. Bolster defenses, decreases duration from 8 to 6, but now it gives more. Ares and allies now gain 0 to 20 basic attack damage while in the area. Very interesting for, it's like mini Faf in a way. So he's better with double Hunter comps or Mage ADC and Hunter comp. No Escape added 20% damage mids while channeling. That, yeah, this should have happened a long time ago, but we have it now. This is good. Kabrakan had some really interesting changes in my opinion. So Tremor, increased Tremor's mana cost from 10 to 30, so more mana necessary to cast the spell. But the CD got reduced by 5 seconds, so it's up every 3. And then in general, they increased the MP5 from 4.6 to 8. They almost doubled it. And increased the MP5, then another almost double MP5 per level. So insane buffs on him. Refraction. Yeah, he had insane mana problems before, so I don't know why they didn't do this a while ago, but I mean, we take it now. Refraction Shield, decreased mana cost from 65 to 85 to 10 at all ranks. On successful hit, this ability refund. So a lot of mana refunding, mana help on Cab, so he could Tremor more often. Pretty big buff, I'd say. Amma, Illuminating Strike, increased debuff duration from 5 to 6. And Divine Presence on Amma. Unused, Amma gains attack speed for 4 seconds. That's a lot of attack speed, by the way. Huge attack stim. I like it. I think that's smart. Kokoken buff, Zephyr, decreased mana cost from 70 to 90, 55 to 75. This doesn't matter since you're going book on him, so I'm not sure what this means. Helps us early game, I guess. Whirlwind, decrease the cooldown from 15 to 11 to 14 to 10. Small buff. Nothing really that big. Maui, Master Fisherman, decreased cooldown from 16 to 14 to 14 to 12. Helps a lot. Increased damage from 100 to 360 to 100 to 380s. Better base at the end. 380 is very high, I'd say. Mystical Ulula, decreased mana cost from 50 to 75 to 55 at all ranks. Makes sense. Nemesis, small buff. Swift Vengeance, decreased mana cost from 60 to 90 to 50 at all ranks. Helps her a bit. She definitely needed this help. Slice and Dice, decreased cooldown from 12 to 11, just 1 second. And increased damage scaling from 30 to 35. Small buffs for Nim. Scotty, Permafrost. Scotty now gains slow immunity while she has a movement speed buff. Pretty big buff, if you ask me. Increase MP5 on Ymir. They obviously saw that Ymir and Cab are old characters with mana problems for no reason, so they're helping the MP5. Small MP5. I mean, I don't understand why they did such a small help on him and such a ridiculous on Cab. Ice Wall decrease cooldown from 13 at all ranks, so it scales down to 11 seconds. Big buff, really, really big buff. Baba Yaga nerf. This was this was very necessary. We were all tired of this trash character. Home Sweet Home, decreasing the burst damage from 75 to 195 to 70 to 190. Decrease shield health from 160 to 440 to 160 to 380, so it scales down. And the burst damage on her house is lower. Honestly, these are not that big of nerfs. Charon, Domination, decrease attack speed slow by 5%, something small. Swift Voyage, increase from 15 to 17, so his early game is worse. Hachiman, they decrease the cooldown. They increase the cooldown from 90 to 100. They just misspelled that, or I don't know, mistyped that. This is a pretty big nerf, I'd say. Jorm, Venomous Haze, decreases base attack damage per tick from 15 to 45 to 10 to 50. Yeah, Jorm needed a nerf. Kali Incense, decreased power buff from 10 to 50 to 10 to 30. Really big, really big, really big nerf. Destruction, decreased damage from 30 to 50 every 0.5 to 25 to 45. Small nerf. Marty, they killed Marty. They absolutely killed Marty. Monstrosity, decreased physical life steal from 0.7 to 0.5. Decreased physical ability life steal from 0. Yeah. Poison Barb, increased the cooldown from 13 to 11 to 13 at all ranks. Death from Above, decrease the damage scaling from 16. All they had to do was this from like since they released the character, and he would have been fine in my opinion. Set, they nerf Set. Spawn Set Revert, decreased dash damage from 60 to 80 to 50 to 70. Small nerfish. Decreased movement speed from 30 to scaling up to 30 now. So his early ults don't have as much movement speed. They aren't that big of nerfs, but they do hurt a bit. I don't know why they nerfed Thor, but very interesting. I thought his damage was pretty low to begin with. Vol'jinir's Attunement, decreased base damage from 50 to 210 to 40 to 200. A smudge of damage. And then Anvil of Dawn, decreased damage scaling on initial hit from 100 to 90%. Yeah, Thor's probably kind of deadish. Probably just a better soul laner now. And that is everything in this giant patch. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Feel free to comment on YouTube. Let me know what you think. We're gonna now jump onto PTS.